Hi. Today is June 19th, and this is vlog post 21. So, I'm talking about surrender. And what is surrender? Surrender is such an incredibly important tool in our life. Because surrender teaches us how to let go and not be attached to outcome, to recognize that we really don't know what's best for us, or what could be better. So surrender is it's something that I've used in my life just to live, really, because I really haven't always known what was best for me. When I let my ego mind run the show, it usually brought me a lot of unhappiness. And, I would do things like self-medicate and put myself down. So now I depend on surrender. And that all that means is sort of like offering it to a higher source within me. It's an inside. It's always an inside job. It has nothing to do with the external. It's always an inside thing. So when I talk about offering it up to a higher source, that God, or God being the generator, the organizer, and the deliverer, or the destroyer of ignorance, that is an aspect that runs within me, not outside of me. It's always within. It's it's energy. Everything's energy. It always breaks down to that, and we are all energy beings that are in. Our body's been materialized because we're vibrating at a lower rate than other things. So our intuition is connected to our higher self, and when we can slow ourselves down, when we can raise our energy, we can. I guess when we can slow our physical body down to the point, not slow where you're not, but just like if you can be quiet, like meditating, then you can start connecting in with this higher self that flows through you, this energy that's always speaking to you, and it is always speaking to you. Your infinite wisdom is within you at all times, and it speaks to you all the time. It's constant. And all you have to do is you have to listen. You have to learn how to listen. It's very, very subtle. And that's what surrendering is about. So we get wrapped up in our worldly woes, trials and tribulations. We get hung up on rules and regulations, things that somebody's told us is the way it is, instead of really going in and start thinking for ourselves. So we're constantly bombarded with media, TV, the videos, here's one right here, on the that would be presented on YouTube, and you could pick it up on your phone. And we're just constantly inundated with information that may or may not be true for us. So we have to learn how to surrender to a higher knowledge, to a higher power, to a higher knowing. And the way that we do that is through meditation, is through being quiet. And the meditation could take on many, many forms. It could be walking meditation. There's lots of ways. When I'm washing the dishes, often it's a very meditative thing. If I'm not distracted, if I'm not, watching TV or listening, having a conversation or whatever, if I'm just sitting there washing dishes and I'm very quiet and it's very methodical, it is a very contemplative time. A lot of times people have great insight when they're in the shower, because it's a really, really, it's a contemplative thing that happens. You're really relaxed, and, it's healing. And then the night, okay, so today I did 2.5 hours of meditation, and that was incredible for me. I've never done a meditation that long, and it was powerful. And but it's taken me a long time to get to that place. It's taken me a lifetime, really, to get to a place where I actually would even begin to meditate, first of all, and then to be able to get to a place where I could sit for that long. So for me, that's important. And and I'm recognizing and I'm acknowledging for myself that it's okay that I didn't have to do it before. I mean, it's been a process, and I am where I am. I'm perfect in my imperfection, and everything I've learned in my life has all been there as tools for my higher self, or my true self, my spiritual self, to learn, my soul, to learn what it is came here to learn. And one of those things is to be authentic and real. And that's part of what this experiment is, this vlogging, is to present myself to the world in a real, authentic way. I don't even know if anybody's going to see these, and maybe a handful of people. But for me, it's been an important, it's really important to acknowledge myself in a way, and see that it's really not that big of a deal to get in front of, and to go and put my face in front of and my thoughts in front of the whole world, potentially. I've surrendered to it. I've been afraid for a long time to speak my mind because of a fear of ridicule or whatever. For who knows why? Maybe I've had lifetimes where I was persecuted. I mean, maybe it was because my sisters, harassed me when I was a little kid, and I'm not really putting it on them. But, you don't know what the little things in our psychology that keep us from doing things and being our true full self. All I know is that I've carried a lot of unhappiness within me, a certain amount of rage, that even though through life I've given myself opportunity to do things like making art and I've found ways slowly but surely to express myself, but it still wasn't enough. There was something that still was missing. And at this point right now, this has been a really, really healing experience. So I've surrendered to it. And it was hard at first. I remember the first video that I made before I posted, I was like, oh my God, that's what I look like? It's just like, whatever. Who cares? Really? I've lived a long life, and I've had children and, whatever. I'm kind of lazy, I'm not a big athletic person, and I really love ice cream, although I've been true to haven't eaten any ice cream for these last 2-3 weeks, which is pretty good for me. That's quite a surrender. So that was something that I had to come to terms with too, was this feeling like the only enjoyment I was getting, not the only enjoyment, but it was a big thing for me to say, oh, I'm not going to eat ice cream. It's like, oh, how can I give up my ice cream? I love ice cream. It's like, it was kind of like this, I don't know, it was like this love-hate fest. And I was sitting there one day and I thought, wow, to give up ice cream, I really don't want to give it up. The idea of giving it up is just so tremendous. I thought, I got to give this up. This is ridiculous. How can this take over my life like that? It was really, really, really symbolic of something I wasn't approaching in my authenticity. And so, and part of that was, this feeling that if I kept eating ice cream, I was gaining weight. But even more than that, it was like, well, so what if I was gaining weight? So besides the health part, but just what is it that I'm worried about? How I look, what I look like, how people look at me, what do people think of me? Are there, am I a bad person because I'm not svelte and, maintaining a certain look or whatever? There's so many things attached to any of these things that we're doing in our life that we think, if we're having a battle with something, then that's an indication that it's something that needs to be worked out. It really is something that needs to be worked out, that your soul, if you're not happy, your soul needs to work on that, or So when I say your soul, that's your higher self, but your higher self is connected to your lower self, which is your ego, which is the part of you that is manifesting out into this world. And so we use these things to really start looking at ourselves. And over the years, I've had many things that I've had, I had to quit drinking, quit smoking, why was I doing these things that were hurting my body? over the years. And it can be anything, shopping, or, an addiction to work, or why do I work so hard? I mean, God, I wrecked my hands from sometimes hammering away in trying to make jewelry because I was trying to make a show. And I was like, I really hurt myself doing that. Why? Why did I feel that I had to do that? Because I felt like it was part of who I was. I had to show the world that I could do this, or, I don't know. It's just like so deep, these things that we attach to, and they're not really true. And really just being is really okay. My daughter and I got a bunny, and I call that bunny the healing bunny because you know what? She just sits and she lies around. Sometimes I let her outside. She runs around, jumps, and she's really cute to watch. This bunny jumps, but mostly she goes to just lies down. She does some digging. She eats, but she's really not obsessed with this thing of having to prove herself as bunny. She's a bunny, and she's very just in her bunniness, and she forces all of us in the household to come down to her level and pet her, and so that we have to slow down and just be with her, the bunny, and that's a really great metaphor for life. We don't have to do anything except for just be. Although some of us feel this need to do more than that, and somehow I have something else I'm supposed to be doing, not just sitting and meditating, although I really enjoyed that 2.5 hours. That was great. And so, okay, I better go. Surrendering to what is. Fix my glasses. And thanks for listening. Have a great day.